Thank you.
You're welcome. So we are going to be discussing new updates to Facebook Analytics today. I've got Jerry, Al and Laura with me to chat through. Facebook have recently made some updates to their analytics that they'll be rolling out soon, and we're going to talk about the effect that that's going to have on video. So guys, the first thing I'll do then is just go over what the changes are going to be. So there's three key changes I think we're going to discuss today. The first one is that they're going to be offering demographic information on people who have viewed videos organically. The second one is that they'll be providing geographic data on people who viewed videos organically. And then finally, they're going to be providing a more detailed breakdown on data from shared and original posts. Probably worth mentioning they are going to be making some updates to 360 and live as well, but we're not going to be discussing those today. We're just going to be talking about normal videos. So the first one to talk about then is the geographic and demographic breakdown of viewers on videos. This is quite exciting. Currently they do offer this function, but it's only available on paid ads, so you can only get it if you're paying for content to be promoted. Having it on paid content, I think, is useful in assessing who from your paid audience is looking at something, but I think that there is a gap there in terms of getting that information back about your organic viewers. You could probably estimate what your overall percentage would be on things like gender, age, breakdown and geography based on this information, but you're never going to be 100% sure on that because you just don't have the other half of the information, so you've only got some of the picture. And I think that in some instances people might find that there are some differences between the two, so it'll be quite interesting to compare how organic and paid audiences are similar or if they're actually different from each other. I think it's really important as well because it's going to give people a better understanding of the performance of organic video. At the moment, as I said, you can get this information, but you can only get that if you're pushing out content that you're paying for. We push out quite a lot of content that's, a 30-second clip or a short video that we do that we're not promoting, we're not going to put money behind. So we don't have any idea of who's watching that and where they're watching that at the moment. So it's going to be really good to get an insight into our organic audience. And I think the benefit there as well is a lot of sort of shorter pieces of content, much more natural pieces of content, I suppose, if you like. These short 15, 20-second videos that we might be producing, we can get a lot more insight into how they're performing based on this demographic data, who's consuming it. Is it more men or more women? Is it older people or younger people?
I think that's an important thing to think about. There's a difference between the type of video that you would send out sort of organically and paid. So far, the stuff that you would pay for is going to be of a different style, it's going to be a different content, and the stuff that was organic, as you say, some of it can be a bit more laid back, and it'd be really interesting to find out how those two different styles of video are sort of kind of pairing up against each other so that it could potentially influence what you're creating from a paid point of view as well. Kind of looking forward to seeing maybe more stuff that we're doing paid-wise could be kind of looking more like the stuff that we do organic-wise. So I think that would be an interesting thing to look at.
Yeah, I completely agree.
I think it'll be really interesting as well because people can be even more laser targeted with their paid audiences and social campaigns because they can see who they're missing with their organic reach, and they can laser target their paid campaigns towards those people to make sure that they're hitting them.
I think that's a really good point, and I think as well what this will help us understand it, if people are organically interacting with content, then I think that demonstrates genuine interest, but it also might give you some insight into sort of types of people who are more likely to engage with something. I think if you've got that information about your organic audience, that could be really helpful for your paid audience as well, because although you can focus based on interest within paid, if you know that females aged 35 to 45 organically are much more likely to engage with a piece of content, you can use that knowledge and you can apply that to your paid content, and it could actually mean that you can enhance the performance of your paid content as well on top of that. So you can use the knowledge both ways. Like you said, Laura, you can use it to plug a gap. If you've got, if you're missing demographics, you can target them directly, or you can actually hone in on the people who are engaged with your content and actually engage them further.
So what are, in terms of demographics, what are the key sort of points that of interest from a demographic? Is it age, sex? Is that?
Yeah, those two. It's those two are the main ones. So you get a breakdown of gender and age. So you can see both. So you could target, as I said, females aged 35 to 45, or you could just target males and females aged 65 plus, for example. So you can split it down that way. Geographically, I believe they're going to be doing it by city, so it gives you a bit more local understanding of what you're looking at.
And from your point of view, I suppose, lots of the work you do is around analysis, working on facts, but you also have to do a level of estimation based on kind of what you expect from the other data. But you've got like hard facts on that stuff that was previously invisible to you.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, as I said before, I could look at a paid campaign and I could say we could say to a client, well, we know from the paid activity that you're doing, your highest demographic is is men aged 20 to 25 to 30. What we only know that from the paid from the paid reach. Now that paid reach might account for 75% of the reach, but it's still only 75%. It's still only a partial view of the overall reach that we're getting. So this will help plug that gap. I'm really looking forward to actually to looking at how the two differ, if the two differ, and if the two are the same, because I think both will have kind of useful outcomes. If they are the same, it's good because it means that there isn't a disparity between your organic reach and your paid reach. But if they are different, it would also be really interesting to understand why they're different. It could be because the particular interest in things that you're targeting might have a very different demographic to your kind of core organic audience.
I was going to say that the messaging that you're putting out would attract a certain type of viewer, but that's not necessarily the type of viewer that you're paying to reach. Exactly. So understanding that allows you to alter that to attract the type of viewer that you're actually interested in sort of contacting.
And further to that, it might show that actually you're interested in a particular target group that have a particular demographic, and you might actually find that your own demographic is very different from that. That might not be a bad thing, but again, it might be something you want to consider, because if your own demographic differs, are you actually reaching the audience organically you think you are, or are you reaching something quite different? And if so, what's the impact of that? Are you reaching the right people? I don't think you're never going to be able to answer these questions 100%. You're always going to have to infer a certain amount of information from the data that's provided, but you could, these are. It just helps draw up a richer picture of what it is that you're looking at.
And for a campaign that really wants a large organic reach, it gives you more to analyse in that campaign. So if you'd done campaigns in the past which are half and half, but the organic reach sort of took off, you were having to base that analysis on the paid campaign, whereas now you get the full facts.
Yeah, it's going to really help clients hone in on their audience, hone in their messaging, and get a more round or holistic view of that reach.
We're talking about video, and there's still an element of you need to create content that your audience engages with in the first place, so that they'll watch that content, so that you can then get the information back from it. So just because we're now getting that information, it doesn't mean kind of job's done. You still need to create something that's going to attract the viewer to watch it. There's a massive difference between creating something and then using that information so that further down the line you can continue to serve that good content to the people that want to see it. So you can't just think, the analytics is there, great, job done. Well, you actually need to do something to make the person watch that so that you can get the information back.
Yeah.
I'm also interested in how it will allow you to analyse the role of influencers in that organic reach, because before I think you talked about the ability to find out who shared it, where it's being viewed, etc. Allows you then to do some of the old-fashioned stuff, maybe contacting people directly to get more content to them so they can share it on your behalf.
The sharing one, you've said that actually, the sharing thing is quite interesting, because obviously the sharing information is kind of the second half of the changes that have been made. So before, what's basically happened is if a video has been shared multiple times, that's great, you're getting more reach, but the statistics that you get back on that video consumption are lumped together. So you couldn't separate out what was on your original post and what was on content that was shared. What you could do is you could see that on the engagement with the post, so the likes and the comments and the shares themselves. You could see where that was happening, whether it was happening on the original post or whether it was happening on shared content. NDCS campaign that we ran with them is quite an interesting example, because we found that actually 85% of the engagement on the post was on the shared post, it wasn't on the original post. So 85% of likes, comments and shares were happening off the original post. That's great because it tells us a little bit about the engagement and the way the video is being distributed. What we don't have from that is any understanding of the video's performance. So we couldn't tell from that although 85% of the engagement was happening off post, how much of the video consumption was happening off post, how many people were watching it because they saw it on a shared post. And I think that'll again be a really interesting one, because I think that'll, you know, raise a lot of questions or provide a lot of insight around social proof, because are people more likely to engage with content that their friends and family have shared, or are they more likely to engage with content directly from the source, directly from the brand? I agree. I think they probably will, but finding that insight is going to be really useful. And I think it's going to be really helpful with the strategy as well behind the kind of content that we're creating, because if you are creating a piece of content that you want to generate page likes from, but you know that that piece of content is going to be consumed away from your page, you need to think a bit more carefully about how you then get people back to your page, get people back to the source of the content, and liking the source so that you can continue to reach them.
I think that was a good point about key influencers in terms of that, because there could be a piece of content created, then it catches the attention of a local celebrity or a larger celebrity, and that piece of content gets sent out to the masses and gets a great deal of sort of publicity from that. We'll be able to track that down, that that's happening because of that key celebrity, and that could be something, valuable piece of information that you can use in the future. But also, if that key celebrity wasn't there, then that wouldn't have happened if it hadn't have been for the sort of influence that they have.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about what your friends and family, something your friends and family say has a lot of impact on what you look at.
Yeah.
But who you like and who you follow on social and your key influencers has a massive impact as well. People like to be part of these social circles. So knowing who that person is and targeting them, and possibly if you're a charity, you know that person's interested and they have a massive reach from that, contact that influencer directly and get them involved in it from the get-go.
I mean, Facebook say that about 48% of all video time viewed comes from shares, so that's almost half of the watchers. So it's going to be really, really interesting to be able to see that information and to hone in on the right messaging on your content to make sure that gets shared and that people are seeing that.
Back to what Jerry said about influencers as well, and based on what you've said there, I think Facebook will hate me for saying this, but you can actually might want to reevaluate where you're putting your efforts in, because you could be chucking money at content and pushing it out, and that's fine. It's getting the views, but actually, is your time better spent connecting with influencers and getting them engaged with your content and getting them sharing it? Could that be more valuable actually in terms of the reach and the engagement than just chucking money at a post and pushing it out and getting a lot of reach, but potentially not the same level of engagement that you're going to get from shares? At the moment, that kind of knowledge is harder to find, but with the split in the the split in the analytics and the way the analytics is presented, I think it will provide a much clearer insight into whether or not actually your efforts are better spent on sharing or better spent on paying for reach of content.
See from that point of view, also we're speaking about these changes that are being made. Some of it's already existing for paid content. Why are Facebook making this move to make this information available for organic stuff?
It's a hard question to answer, but one of Facebook's kind of core manifestos is all about experience and user experience. Yeah. I think Facebook also recognises the significance and the importance of online video and where online video is going. If you look at what Facebook are offering now, 2-3 years ago, Facebook video wasn't really a competition for the likes of YouTube, whereas now I think Facebook have really upped their game. The level of detail that Facebook are offering, it is probably equivalent to, if not soon to be surpassing that of YouTube in terms of analytics. They know that video isn't going anywhere. They know that social video is a big thing. And I think it's in their interest to continue to invest in it, because if brands and companies and people are engaging with video, then their followers are going to be engaging with the video too. And I think that is going to get Facebook what they want, which is more people online, more people engaging with the platform. Okay, so just to summarise, Facebook are changing the way that they deliver analytics. They'll be providing a breakdown of demographic and geographic information, as well as letting you know more information about people consuming your post on shares. Thanks for your time. If you've enjoyed today's post, please leave us a comment. We'd love to discuss it further with you. Like it, share it with your network. Thanks to the guys for joining me, and thank you very much for your time.